200,000 subscribers is what I have. For reference, this is what 200,000 people look like. And this is me. 7 months into my channel, I made this video. Every single car that TikTok has ruined 100,000 subscriber special. And 7 months later, I'm making this video. My 200,000 subscriber special. And honestly, all I can really say is thank you. Thank you so much. But to continue the subscriber special pattern, in this video, we're gonna be looking at every single trend that has ruined the car culture. And looking at my list right now, we have almost 30 of them. So this is gonna be a long video. Grab your popcorn, grab your snacks, your water, whatever you need to do, and enjoy, because this is gonna be almost 30 trends of me ranting. And then first, we have to start with arguably one of the worst trends, if not the worst trend to see recent car culture, and that is street takeovers. Yes, I'm aware that street takeovers aren't a recent thing. Every time I bring it up in a trend video, there's always that one 40-year-old, 60-year-old man who's like, street takeovers were a thing back in the day. This young blood doesn't know what he's talking about. Uncle, I know, relax. What I'm saying is that street takeovers have become much worse and more dangerous than it once was. People don't do it for the culture no more. They do it to chase clout. We have people stealing cars, people bringing guns, people burning down cars just for the takeovers and for internet points. It's pointless, dangerous, and always escalates into chaos. Hey, legal pits will always 10 out of 10 times be better than a street takeover. I don't know why people don't do this more. I wouldn't mind going to a legal pit. But the fact you have people in intersections doing donuts and blocking people just trying to get home from a long day of work makes absolutely no sense to me. The participants, the people who watch, the people who drive, the people who are passengers, all of them lack common sense. Because there's no way of a street takeover ending well. Nobody goes to a takeover and then goes home without anything happening. Whether that's an accident, a bad accident actually, the participants getting cleared out by the cops, or somebody getting shot. It never ends well, so don't go to a takeover, please. Don't participate in it. Don't encourage this hooligans. Every time I bring it up, there's always that one person who says I'm a Karen. If me telling you not to do takeovers and waste other people's time and crash your cars and burn and steal cars makes me a Karen, yeah, but that's one trend that I hope most of you, if not all of you watching this, should agree on. But the next trend, I know a lot of you will disagree, but I have to say it. And that is murdering out every car. Doesn't matter what car it is, if it's a sedan, if it's a minivan, if it's an economy car, there's always that set of people that think they should murder it out. And honestly, this is personal preference, but I'm not a fan of this trend at all. In my honest opinion, your car needs a certain aesthetic to be murdered out. And you can only murder it out so much without looking like an absolute cornball. Hey, if you have a Huracan, a Aventador, a McLaren, and you murder out your car, that's not my tax bracket. I don't care. I have no means to talk about it. Do you, Bruce Wayne? But if you have a Toyota Corolla and you murder out your car, I feel like it just looks tacky. But again, this is my opinion. If you have a Corolla and you want to murder it out, go ahead. I don't care. I just don't think I would ever, for instance, go murder out my daily driver, because it's just not gonna look good in my eyes. On the other hand, if I murdered out my Corvette, it might look good. I don't know. I've seen a lot of good murdered out Corvettes. Again, it just depends on the car. But one trend I feel like is terrible no matter the car is excessive burble tunes. Slight burbles, those are questionable, but you can live with that. But you know those AMGs and those BMWs that have the burble sounding for like 30 seconds after they floor it? That sounds terrible. Why would you want your car to sound like literal farts? That doesn't even sound good. Why? Nobody outside the car thinks it sounds good. Only you. Like, think about it. You're driving and your car starts farting. You think somebody's gonna be like, oh, those farts sound good. No, take off your burble tunes. Even the pops, those are decent, but it gets to a point as well. It's just pretty much, if you overdo anything exhaust-wise, 10 out of 10 times it's gonna sound terrible. Whether that's overdoing the sound, overdoing the burbles, overdoing the pops, not everybody wants to hear that. If we wanted to, we would have gotten Taco Bell for lunch. The next trend is actually for a specific group of people who own a specific type of car. That is Mopar owners keeping the banana splitter on their car. With the quick Google search, you see those yellow splitter things that come on Mopars were meant as protective layer for shipping, not style. And then some people are saying, well, we use it to protect the paint after the shipping. That's not how it works. It's literally meant to be taken off. Why? Because Dodge themselves will literally tell you keeping it on will scratch your paint. It's only a temporary solution for transport, not a permanent solution for style, because you're literally ruining your paint. And it kind of looks silly in my opinion. You have people with plum crazy purple rocking yellow splitter guards. How does that make any sense? It's like buying an expensive jacket and keeping the tag on just to flex that you bought it new or something. something. That's the type of vibe I get when people keep their splitter guards on. Like, hey, look everybody, I kept my splitter guard because I bought my Dodge brand new. Congrats. Now take it off. It looks silly. But staying on that mod section, the next trend that kind of irks me a little bit is the respect all builds mentality. Okay, this is controversial because absolutely, you should respect all builds. But there's a difference between respecting builds that are tastefully modified and builds that are just straight up dangerous and outright impractical. Not making fun of somebody because they have claw marks on a V6, that's fine, that's acceptable. That's part of the respect all builds I can agree with. Now, respecting someone who has a squatted truck, I don't know about that. They don't need respect. It just gets to a point, and that's gonna be the main conclusion for almost all of this trends. Overdoing ruins a lot of things. When you have people who straight up black out their taillights, that's just dangerous. That's stupid. That's not a build you respect. But when you have somebody who does something like, let's say, a wheel color that you won't typically see on a car, like green wheels. Don't go make fun of that person and be like, haha, your wheels are ugly. No. No, that's not what I'm saying. You still have to respect people's builds, unless it's a squatted truck. Speaking of squatted trucks, the next trend actually brings me to the truck community. Something I don't talk about often, but when I do, it's always something bad. And that is the overly lifted and squatted trucks, which aren't used in the way they're intended to be used. In fact, squatted trucks, is there even any intention for squatting your truck? That's what I thought. Lifted trucks, on the other hand, can be useful to an extent. I see lifted trucks all the time going through flooded areas, going through off-roading, dirt and all that. But the problem is, you have people lifting their trucks to the moon just to never see an inch of dirt ever. And that confuses me. I don't know why they do it, but they do it. They have the money to spend. They spend like $30,000 on a suspension setup. Hey, if they got the money like that, who am I to blame them? Anyways, the next trend is a big one. A big one that I kind of surround around my channel that I talk about often. And that is overhyping high horsepower. My whole last video talks about this, so I'm not gonna touch on it too much. But social media has convinced people that anything under 700 horsepower is slow, which is completely unrealistic. It doesn't even make sense. Especially considering that not even 20 years ago, 400 horsepower cars were supercars. And then people completely forget the concept of power to weight ratio. 700 horsepower in a 9,000 pound truck is still a lot, but it's nowhere near as quick as 400 horsepower in a 3,000 pound car. You'd think that's common sense, but no, it's not. Apparently it's not anymore. Either that or people just don't have common sense. Anyways, the next trend is one that's kind of died off because it's getting extremely expensive now, but that is wide bodying everything. Whether it's a Prius, whether it's a Toyota, whether it's a Corvette, whether it's a McLaren, whether it's a, you name it, there's people that's gonna wide body it. Wide bodying is fine, but the problem is people cheap out on it. They go the cheaper route. Instead of buying an actual wide body kit, they have people buying wide body kits made out of ramen noodles. And then they slap it on their car with the worst fitment known to man, don't even bother to upsize the wheels, and call it a day. Driving around in a body kit that looks like it was crafted by a toddler. It's silly, but again, it's not as often as it once was. I remember 2020 TikTok, I used to see all these cars being wide bodied. I used to see like a GR86 with the worst kit slapped on it. The fitment is absolutely terrible, and then the wide body kit isn't even properly matched to the body paint of the car, so it just straight up looks tacky. I don't know, I thought it was funny. It was entertaining for sure, but me, if I'm going a wide body kit, I'm spending every single dollar it needs to look perfect, because that's the first thing everybody would notice on your car. You pull up to the car meet, nobody is seeing your interior, nobody is seeing under your hood, nobody is seeing what fuel you're running. The first thing they see is how your car is sitting and how it's looking. So if you pull up with the worst kit known to man, you're gonna look silly. It doesn't matter if you're pushing 1200 under the hood. If your car doesn't look presentable, you failed on your build. Unless you're going for a sleeper build, then that's different. That's different. But most of the people who do this are not. So no. You thought you were safe. No. The next trend is up-badging your car. And I put up-badging in quotations because I don't literally mean only up-badging. Yes, up-badging is wrong. Your 330i should not be up-badged as an M5. But what I'm talking about isn't even just about those people. I'm talking about the Camaro SS's that put a ZL1 bumper, the Mustang 5.0s that put a GT500 bumper, the C7 Z06 that put a C7 ZR1 bumper. This is a trend that I personally never understood. I feel like it takes away the point of what your car should be. I have people in my comments telling me all the time, get a ZR1 bumper, get this, get that. Hey, I like the way my Z06 looks. I even think it looks better than the ZR1. Attack me. I'm sorry, it's the truth. But that also goes for people who slap on, you know, slicks on their stock 200 horsepower build. Again, it's all trying to be something you're not. And that's a trend I personally don't mess with. If you do it, again, like every single other trend on this video, Cool, I don't care. This is all my opinion. You guys can stop suggesting it. I'm never gonna put a ZR1 bumper on my Z06. If I get a ZR1 and it has a ZR1 bumper, I'm not gonna go put a Z06 bumper on it because it's a ZR1. A ZR1 should have a ZR1 bumper. Same way I feel like a Z06 should have a Z06 bumper. And it's the Camaro and Mustang guys who love to do this especially. And same deal with the people who put Mickey Thompsons on their stock M240Is. Michelin's, Continentals, even regular Hancock tires would hook just fine. Anyways, my least favorite trend, after takeovers of course, is the next one. And that is straight piped obnoxiously loud exhaust. Like I'm talking ear piercing, garbage sounding exhaust. And you know what car I'm referring to, right? Or should I say cars? Yeah. We don't want to hear your tin can. Keep your resonators on, please. I want to say there's certain cars that could pull off a straight pipe, but there's just a point. It gets to a point. E92 M3s are some of the best sounding cars on the planet. But I was recently at a car meet and somehow somebody managed to make an E92 M3 sound trash. You know why? Because somebody 10 miles away could hear homeboy revving. And I don't know why somebody would massacre such a good sounding exhaust like this. Oh my god, that's just loud. Oh my god. Like they're scaring the poor dog. Pretty much what I'm saying is the trend of people thinking loud means good, when in reality it doesn't, especially on cars that are actually slow. There's no worse feeling than hearing a car sound like a fighter jet taking off just to break your neck to a clapped out Toyota RAV4. Stop straight piping cars that don't need to be straight piped. Stop straight piping cars in general. I feel like loudness and performance should go hand in hand. No reason to straight pipe a car that's slow. But again, people hear sound and don't worry about pitch, and that's like the biggest misconception. A loud car doesn't mean it sounds good. My Nissan Altima was loud when somebody stole the cat. Doesn't mean it sounds good. My Z06 isn't loud. It has mufflers, it has its resonator, and it has valves. And it still sounds better than 90% of the cars that are straight piped. So take my opinion with a grain of salt. But don't straight pipe your car. Please, don't. For the sake of everyone around you. The next trend is similar to takeovers because it's something that social media influenced a lot. And that is driving recklessly and swimming through traffic. Cutting up. People glorify this behavior because of reckless influencers like, you know, the squeeze Benzes of the social media. And yes, it's a trend. Unlike takeovers where people say it was a thing back in the days, no. If you say cutting up is not a trend, you're just coping. Please take it to the track. And what sucks is that we can't really, obviously we can blame the people, but the fact that the government is making tracks and shutting it down because people move in, knowing damn well they're going to be moving close to a racetrack, also adds on to the reckless driving point. If you're shutting down the only place where we can legally street race and drive and push our car to its limits, obviously there's going to be a spike in reckless driving on the street. But hey, like I said, common sense isn't so common anymore. The next trend is another trend that's specific to a group of drivers, a specific group of cars, and that is chameleon wraps on Teslas. The amount of times I've seen a Model Y with a chameleon wrap, it's too much. It's a stupid trend because it looks ugly. The Tesla does not have the body shape or the body lines to pull off a chameleon wrap. Do Teslas even have lines? It's just curves, silly curves. They look like an egg. I'm sorry, I'm hating. I said I'm not gonna hate all of 2025, but I'm sorry, I don't know what got into me. But there's just certain things you shouldn't do to certain cars, and chameleon wraps on Tesla is one of them. Another thing you shouldn't do to certain cars is bring it to a car meet. Yes, that's my next trend. Bringing your stock economy car to the VIP position in a car meet. If you have a boring car but it's tastefully modified, that's fine. If you have a very interesting car and it's stock, that's also fine. What I'm talking about is the people who bring their bone stock Nissan Cube to the car meet and park it next to the showcase cars. You probably think what I'm saying is mean, but you will understand where I'm coming from if you've ever driven 2 hours to a car meet you anticipated so much just for the lineup to look like a parking lot of a Wendy's. I'm telling you, it's not fun being on the other side. And why this is a problem, because this has even happened to me many times. When you go to a car meet and you see it's lame and it's not actually nice cars and it's just regular traffic, the people who actually have nice cars will drive away because they don't want to be there. They're gonna think it's lame. So if you have a regular car and you want to go actually watch the car meet, go ahead. Just don't park where the showcase cars are meant to be, because then it just looks like a lame meet, and we don't want the meet to be lame. The next trend is the comparison of car brands all over social media, specifically the BMW kids, The Koenigsegg kids, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. BMW fans, it's not even the owners, it's the fans who don't even know how to drive that decide to make everything a comparison. Mercedes can't make a car and announce it without a BMW kid spamming their comment talking about BMW better. Same way with Bugatti and Koenigsegg. Bugatti can't make a car and then Koenigsegg kids won't be in the comments. It's silly because I promise you, even Rimac and Christian von Koenigsegg are tight. They're friends. They make cars that compete with each other, but in reality, they're like close to each other. But a Bugatti and a Koenigsegg fan, if they were on site, they're gonna turn into Aaron the Plumber. They're gonna fight. I just think it's silly making everything a comparison, especially when it's not meant to be compared. Just like J. Cole said, two legends can indeed coexist, and Bugatti and Koenigsegg are prime examples of that. But another thing that I don't understand, and it's a trend that has actually risen due to like the EV population increasing as well, is the over focusing on 0 to 60 times, making it more important than it truly is. People just treat 0 to 60 like it's the only performance metric, and that's kind of cringe. You have people saying an M5 competition will be a Z06 up the line. Obviously, we're talking all-wheel drive compared to a rear-wheel drive car with 650 torque. People just talk numbers and forget physics exists at this point. But what can we expect from BMW kids? Anyways, the next trend is something that's actually the manufacturers doing over the community, and that's bad. And that is the trend of adding artificial exhaust noise into a car cabin. I kid you not, I've never heard one person unironically say, I want my car to be louder on the inside than it is on the outside. Yeah, you see how stupid that sounds? You see how that makes zero sense? But somehow manufacturers still find the need to make exhaust sound come from the inside of the car, and that's something I don't understand. This is more common with the new hybrid and electric cars, like the Dodge Charger Daytona, the new inline 4 Mercedes C63. I don't know, I've never understood this and I never will. Somebody tell me if I'm missing something. But staying on the topic of electric vehicles, all of them are ugly. I'm sorry, I don't think there's many good affordable EVs that actually look decent. They're all ugly. I don't know why. What is the trend of automakers making their EVs look like eggs? I understand aerodynamics and all that, but there's many gas cars that are also aerodynamic that don't look straight garbage. Again, maybe that's something I'm missing, but if I am, let me know in the comments, please. I just don't understand it. Like, why is the BMW i3 this ugly? Why is the Nissan Leaf this ugly? I can't think of any affordable, good-looking EVs. Am I tripping? Anyways, let's go back to the community. And the next trend is corny TikTok edits. We're rounding up. We have like 3-4 more trends to go, so I'm gonna speedrun it because I'm getting hungry. Damn, I really hit 200,000 subscribers. That's crazy. Anyways, corny TikTok edits need to go. That's it. It's 2025. Nobody wants to see your funk troll face edits. And then since we're already on the topic of TikTok, we have the people who destroy cars for clout. The jelly beans of the community. Whistling Diesel gets a pass because his is in the name of science. Dancing on your windshield and promoting your adult content isn't in the name of science. You're a loser. And moving on, we have Mopar owners who lets everybody knows that their car is a Hellcat. And that's by putting a big Hellcat decal on the side, 50 different SRT badges on the car, and so on. We understand. You have a Hellcat. We know. The car comes with 5 badges saying SRT Hellcat from factory. We don't need to see a big Hellcat on the side of your car. I just feel like that's so tacky and in your face, but it's a trend that all Mopar owners do. For every 5 Hellcats, 3 of them would have this decal. And I don't like it. I never understood why people did it, but I don't have a Hellcat. I can't talk. But staying on the topic of Mopars, let's talk about the Scat Pack owner who will die on the hill that their scat is an SRT. Simply because the brakes say SRT and the engine bay says powered by SRT. With a 5-second Google search, you would realize that no, your scat pack is not an SRT. If it doesn't come with the supercharger from the factory, it's not an SRT. It's a product of SRT. Hey, Google says that, not me. So your scat is not an SRT. Get a Hellcat. The next trend is those truck drivers or just people in general who get aftermarket speakers with straight bass. The ones who go to car meets blasting the worst music known to man and you can't even hear the vocals. But you know what I'm talking about. I don't understand why people get subs and don't actually get clear speakers. They just get straight bass. It sounds obnoxious. But again, that's a preference thing. The problem is when you go to car meets and you blast your music max volume. Nobody cares but you. I promise you. But let's go back to a trend that isn't really as bad anymore, but was once bad, and that is romanticizing car crashes as aesthetic. The main culprit of this is the Audi RS6 with the kerosene trend. You know that one Audi RS6 that crashed on the Autobahn for going like 300 kilometers an hour? And then all of a sudden, it became a trend to signal this specific song with Audi RS6s. And people started making edits of the guy who crashed, showing his crashed car. TikTok is cooked. I'm sorry. It's not even funny, but Jesus. I'm noticing a pattern. These final two trends are even similar to the last one because it all has to do with TikTok kids without licenses. They're delusional. And the next trend is hyping up untested cars with no real performance data. Like hyping up cars like the Yesko Absolute, the Tesla Roadster, the Dodge Tomahawk, the Mercedes T80. All of these cars don't have the stats to back it up. Yes, the Yesko does, but it doesn't have a top speed. So you can't say it's faster than a specific car that has been tested when you absolutely have no idea. It's been, what, 4 or 5 years since they claimed the top speed, and they still haven't done a top speed run. Hey, I'm a fan of Koenigsegg, but you should wonder, what is keeping them so long? I don't know, but in the meantime, without proven stats, the Yesko is not the fastest car. I just know how many Koenigsegg fans clicked off the video right now, but I'm sorry, it's just the truth. And if you're mad about that, grow up. But something I genuinely think makes no sense is how I'm 14 months in and have 200,000 subscribers. I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you so much. If you guys want to see the video I made 7 months ago about my 100K subscriber special, make sure to click on the screen right now. Hope you guys have a great day, great night, wherever it is for you guys. And I'll see you guys in 7 months when I make the 300K special. Take care.